Good afternoon and welcome to the webinar on Preparedness and Resilience, the role of European youth volunteering, organized within Strategic National Agencies Cooperation on Volunteering, coordinated by SALTO, European Solidarity Corps. My name is Alexandra Maljiski, and I will be moderating today's discussion with our expert guests, in which we will explore the concept of preparedness and resilience and how this priority connects to European programs, as well as showcase some concrete projects that already integrate elements of preparedness. Before I introduce whom we have with us today and start what I'm sure will be a very interesting conversation, I would like to give the floor to Christine Weil from SALTO European Solidarity Corps. She has been a part of SALTO ESC since 2018, and her focus area of work is strengthening value-based European youth volunteering. Christine.
Hi, good morning. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see so many of you joining us today, and I'm really excited and happy to welcome you to this online event on the new European priority preparedness. And I would like to especially welcome our guest speakers that are in the Zoom room with me today. Thank you very much for being with us. Sorry. So as Alexandra already said, my name is Christine and I'm working for the SALTO European Solidarity Corps. Within our work, we aim to develop strategic and innovative actions in the Solidarity Corps program, create space for exchange, such as this webinar, and support the network in the implementation of the program. One objective of our work is to strengthen European youth volunteering. With the support of partner national agencies, we decided to organize this online event that offers a space to look into the new priority on European level, which is called preparedness, and the role that Solidarity Corps program can play within this new priority. Over the past years, we experienced what we describe as polycrisis: COVID pandemic, climate-related disasters, war on our continent, growing social inequalities, and an increasing threat to our democratic systems. These crises have shown us that preparedness is not just a technical term. It's not something far away. It is not only for emergency professionals. It has become a societal task. Preparedness as a new priority into European policies has also found its way into Erasmus Plus and into the European Solidarity Corps. But what does it actually mean? How can we translate it into our projects? Today, with the support of PSI, from Directorate General for Education, Youth, Sports and Culture, Gatan Vivo from Directorate General for European Civil Protection and Humanitarian Aid Operations, and 3 hands-on project examples, we will have a chance to explore why preparedness matters, have a look at what preparedness means within the Solidarity Corps program and youth volunteering, and look at the potential of bringing together Solidarity Corps actors and civil protection actors to foster cross-sectorial cooperation and collaboration, which we believe is essential to contribute meaningfully to this new priority. For us as a SALTO, it's also important to say that preparedness in the context of the Solidarity Corps is not about turning young people into emergency responders. It's about building resilience, solidarity, civic engagement, equipping young people with the confidence, adaptability, and values they need to navigate in uncertain times and to contribute positively to their communities. What we want is for young people to become resilient individuals, active citizens, and engaged members of our societies. And volunteering, I think we can all agree, plays a crucial role in this. Connecting volunteering, preparedness, and the core values of the Solidarity Corps allows us to talk not only about response to crises and threats, it broadens our perspective in becoming active before crises even happen, in anticipating risks by strengthening people, by strengthening communities, and strengthening the bonds that hold our societies together. Participants of the Solidarity Corps report personal development far beyond technical skills. They speak about increased self-confidence, adaptability, and emotional resilience, which are qualities that are essential for coping with uncertainties and crisis situations. Also, I would like to mention the social dimension of preparedness. It is becoming increasingly important. The World Health Organization reminds us that 1 out of 3 adults and 1 in 4 young people experience loneliness. social isolation is not only a mental health challenge, it also weakens societal resilience. Volunteering has proven to be a powerful response. It creates spaces for belonging, acceptance, and mutual support. The Solidarity Corps has helped address youth mental health challenges by strengthening community ties and combating isolations. We will also hear a bit more about this important part in one of the project examples. At the same time, the Solidarity Corps as a program has demonstrated a unique adaptability in times of crisis. It has supported communities during the COVID-19 pandemic, in response to natural disasters such as floods and earthquakes, and following Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. These experiences have shown that the program can act as a European tool for resilience, enabling young people to contribute in a meaningful, safe, and well-structured way. So, different formats of the Solidarity Corps allowing young volunteers to contribute to the preparedness priority. Of course, depending on the focus of the project, but no matter if it's a solidarity project, if it's a short or long-term individual volunteering placement, or a project within the volunteering teams in high priority areas, volunteering within the Solidarity Corps can be a driving force to raise awareness, to strengthen young people, to build capacities of organization, and to strengthen resilience of persons and societies. So today you will hear 3 examples of projects that show the immense value of volunteering when it comes to preparedness and community resilience. 2 solidarity projects will highlight the role of young people within the project and their impact on their communities. And 1 civil protection project will highlight the essence of involving people in crisis planning from the very beginning and what potential it also has to involve young people already from the start in a strategic way. This webinar is about opening space for dialogue, learning, exchange, inspiring. It is about connecting policy and practice and reflecting together on how preparedness, solidarity, and volunteering can reinforce each other in a meaningful and responsible way. So thank you very much for being with us. I wish all of us inspiring and very productive think about 80 more minutes. Thank you very much, and back to you, Alexandra.
Thank you for this introduction, Christine. And before we start our conversation with our expert guests today, I would like to invite those of you who are in the audience, who are following us on the stream, to ask questions. So throughout the speeches and presentations, you can ask questions either on Menti, which you can access by scanning the QR code you can see on the screen, or you can click the link in the video description and ask your questions that way. There is a possibility to ask more than 1 question. You can ask them throughout the event, and at the end of the presentations, we will have a part for Q&A where we will ask some of these questions to our guest speakers. And now I have the pleasure of introducing our first speaker of today. And that is Pierre Sai from the European Commission. He's a program manager at Unit B3, Youth and Volunteer Solidarity, Director General for Education, Youth, Sport and Culture. Pierre, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Alexandra. But I think Gaetano should speak first. Thank you.
Very well, thank you, Pierre. So then I will invite to the floor Gaetano Vivo from the Commission as well, Deputy Head of Unit B3, Prevention and Preparedness Capacity Building of the Director General for European Civil Protection and Humanitarian Aid Operations. Gaetano, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexandra. I hope you can hear me and see me. Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, please go ahead.
Very good. Thanks a lot to SALTO for inviting me to open this webinar. I'm very excited to be here talking to an audience of representatives from many different European youth organizations. I must say that this brings me back to more than 20 years ago, unfortunately for me, when I was myself a volunteer for my youth NGO in Italy, and I was traveling across Europe back then to attend several trainings organized by SALTO. At the time, webinars were not really a thing, so we were more into these face-to-face meetings. But it's great to be on the other side of the podium today to talk to you about an issue which back then, so two decades ago, was not really much talked about, but that has become increasingly important over this past 20 years. And I'll talk to you about disaster and crisis preparedness, what the EU is doing about this, and why we need to work together more than ever on this priority. We've all seen in the past few years this polycrisis. I think you called it earlier in your introduction. If I could go on the first slide, please. Different crises caused by different type of hazards. The climate change on one hand with these extreme events, pandemic, cyber attacks, geopolitical tensions, which have caused the displacements and war on the European territory, war in its conventional form, but also in different hybrid, what we call hybrid form. These events and crises overlap and cross borders. And so the question today is not if something will happen, but how ready we are and when it happens. This is why in this current commission, preparedness has been very high on the agenda since the beginning, since the very first speech of our President von der Leyen, and the Preparedness Union strategy, which is the first European blueprint for preparedness that we have in Europe, was adopted a year ago, nearly in March 2025. So this is a roadmap that we have to really become more prepared as Europe and to bring preparedness across different fields of different policy areas, and I would say even different fields of life. The approach that this strategy is based on can be summarized in 3 principles you see on the slides. All hazard, meaning focusing on risks that come from natural hazards. I mentioned the climate on one hand, the hydrometeorological events, earthquakes, as well as man-made disasters, industrial accident, blackouts, failure of critical infrastructure, as well as security-related hazards. And I mentioned earlier the war in Ukraine and with all its related manifestations and spillover effects. Second is a whole of government. So as I said, we are all in this. We're all in this together. All of us are in different sectors. We have to really overcome the traditional, I would say, 19th century setup of our governments, where we have the ministries and the silos. This is clearly calls for a whole of government approach and a whole of society. And this is very important for discussion today on volunteerism. Preparedness should not anymore be seen as a prerogative of government organizations, but it should actively involve citizens, community, civil society, educators, and businesses. In this strategy, which you will find online, it has also a number of actions. And in this action, the interesting thing is that perhaps for the first time, not all, but many Directorate General of the European Commission and the different counterparts in the ministries in our member states come together to implement it. So it's really, we are forced to work together to break silos, and this is a very good thing. And one of the actions is action number 30 in the Preparedness Union strategy, focuses on promoting preparedness in youth programs, and particularly in the European Solidarity Corps. So this is seen as a key objective that we want to achieve. We want to see more projects focusing on preparedness under this program. This being said, if I could go to the next slide, we know that preparedness for disasters and crises is not a completely new topic. There have been a number of projects that focuses on risk awareness, on disinformation, on cyber threats under the Solidarity Corps and other programs of the EU. But what is new now is that with this new priority that we have on preparedness, we have the possibility to, it's a new funding priority. It gives us the possibility to give more visibility to these projects, to promote them in a much better way, because they are really focused around this topic, and we'll be able to really share the knowledge for these projects in a much more effective way. And my colleague Pierre from EAC will explain how this is done in practice. Now I wanted to focus a bit on what do we expect from involvement of youth organization in preparedness. First of all, what is preparedness for crisis, preparedness for disasters? It's everything that we do before a crisis. Preparedness starts with analyzing the risks we are faced with. And again, here we're talking about risk from different type of hazards, natural hazard, man-made, security related, analyzing them, assessing which one are the ones that are most important, most relevant to where we are, coming up with a plan to respond on how to respond to them, testing this plan, and having a plan in place and testing it allow us to respond more effectively and to recover faster from an event. Having a plan is not just writing the plan and doing an exercise, but it's also communicating it to the population. So we will see that this is a critical area where youth organization can play a critical role. So we would like to see youth organization to partner with civil protection institutions. Often, also for us here in the Commission, civil protection is mostly a business that brings together government organization at national level, at regional level. But clearly here, the policy shift that we have with this strategy is that we need to go beyond the government institutions. We need to really talk to civil society organizations, local authorities, to make sure that really we increase our preparedness. Young people, youth organization play a key role. I don't know if some of you in the audience have participated or I've read something online about a meeting we had a year ago focusing on youth and preparedness. We already saw some interesting projects in this field. Perhaps we can point you later to the webpage where we have collected a couple of good practices from different organizations. Some of them actually also funded by the Solidarity Corps. But in the next slide, I have tried to summarize really roughly 4 types of projects that we would like to see, for 4 areas. And this is not at all an exhaustive list, there can be others, but just to give you a more concrete, to zoom in even more and to give you a more concrete idea of which kind of project we would like to see involving youth in preparedness. If we could move to the next slide, please. Thank you. So starting with risk communication, campaign, and other advocacy and awareness activities. So here we would love to see youth projects that help sensitize and support the community, because raising awareness is important, but then we also need to support, making sure that they understand the importance is definitely the first step. But then what are we going to do to help them, to empower them, to different type of hazard, to prepare to different kind of hazard, wildfires, floods, heat waves, earthquakes, turning this information into accessible and youth-friendly materials on local risks. You know better than me which are the formats, the type of products that can talk more to a youth audience, or to different groups in society, videos, social media content, podcasts, and then also, of course, organizing workshops and community events, because we should also not only have an online focus, but also look at all members of the society, also the ones who are less likely to use the internet. So that's the first group of project that we would like to see, and that where we have also some good practices, and I think we'll talk about that later. Second one is increasing and facilitating access to information of what to do and what not to do during a disaster. Youth can help outreach, reaching out to groups at risk, elderly people, migrants, people with disability, that are groups that have specific needs, specific vulnerabilities, and can assist local actors in adapting information to different languages and needs. And also here, translating complex information, alert, warning messages into something that is accessible and inclusive and for the population. So here, really turning the technical information into something that is accessible, that can be understood. You can have the best early warning system, but if your warning messages are not understood by the population, it's absolutely useless, because people don't know what to do when they have it, even if they have the message on time. Third, with my colleagues, we were brainstorming a little bit. We know that youth have an advantage, if I could say, or an edge on technology, and this is something that also we would love to see more of, in terms of using IT skills for mapping, for visualizing risk, and also visualizing assets to address those risks, like the community infrastructures, hospitals, civil protection centers, shelters, to basically put this on maps using IT skills to collect this data and visualizing it. I'm familiar with the work of an organization called OpenStreetMap, for example, and the tremendous amount of work that this kind of grassroots organization have done to really help government disaster risk management agencies to map and to plan for response. So this is another important areas, the risk mapping, working closely with local authorities and NGOs. So here is another important angle that we wanted to emphasize. This, we do not need to we do not impose the involvement of an authority, a civil protection authority, a national, regional, or municipal, but we very much encourage talking to them when you assess the needs for a project, when you also look at what is in place, because during a crisis in particular, volunteers must be of help. They do not need to represent a further strain on the system. So even though the projects do not have an institutional partner from this kind of agencies like civil protection or disaster risk management, it's very important that you talk to them before and also during and after the project. Last but not least, volunteers can help in counter misinformation and disinformation. We've seen in a number of recent disasters how this is playing also this noise, which is made often in a deliberate way, in a malicious way, can also interfere with the official assistance, disaster, rescue and assistance. So very important also to add this element, this countering misinformation and disinformation. So I'm very close to the end here, but I just want to, moving to the next slide, last slide, to say that really, if there is one thing I would like you to walk home with from these speeches, all the examples I've shown, all these things I've said, it makes one thing very clear. Resilience goes beyond institutions. It's about education, it's about participation. Several papers have demonstrated, academic papers have demonstrated that resilience is higher in those society where there is trust in institutions, trust also in civil society, when there is access to reliable information, and when the social fabric, the social cohesion is close knit. And we have several examples from recent disasters where we have seen that first aid is more likely to come from your neighbor, from your office mate, from your schoolmate, way before the emergency responders, the ambulance, the firefighter comes and rescue you. So it's really important to make sure that this horizontal whole of society approach becomes real at all levels of our society. Governments clearly cannot do this alone. Preparedness only works if it involves the whole of society, and young people and youth organizations have a crucial role to play, bringing innovation, digital skills, creativity into this field. We really hope at the European Civil Protection Mechanism, which is where we work in DG ECHO, to see and promote a lot of good projects in this area. We can promise you that we have space online and in face-to-face event to showcase, to promote all the good work that you will be doing under this project. Thanks a lot for listening to me. I am very happy to respond to any question you may have today during this the Q&A or through email. Sorry, we are old-fashioned and we still use email here. It's a bit of a lengthy address, but we are also active on social media, I think LinkedIn in particular. So if you want to continue the conversation, we are happy to do so. And with that, over to you, Alexandra.
Thank you very much, Gaetano, for your very insightful opening of this, what I'm sure is going to be a very interesting conversation. And I would now like to invite Pierre to the stage. So as shared before, Pierre Sai, also from the European Commission, Program Manager from the Unit B3, Youth and Volunteer Solidarity, of the Directorate General for Education, Youth, Sport and Culture. Pierre, the floor is yours.
Many thanks, Alexandra. So this time it is me. I will talk I'm talking in the middle between the presentation of the needs that has been made by the previous speakers and the concrete projects that will be presented just afterwards. So the needs, I think now you all understand how vital it is to enhance preparedness. And what I will emphasize is how the youth programs of the EU, and in particular the European Solidarity Corps, can address these needs. As you will see in the projects that will be presented a bit later, preparedness is already part of the youth programs and has been for quite a while. Of course, it wasn't always called like that with the formal label preparedness, but in practice, building resilience, and now we can come to the first slide, please. And in practice, building resilience, as Christine explained, of the young people and beyond of the whole society is a first step. If we try to actively engage the young people, so in our programs, young people are from 18 to 30 years old. If we engage them, then we can raise their own risk and threat awareness, and then they can become kind of ambassadors of to promote and to explain and to convince the rest of their community of the importance of preparedness and of the possible tools that they may have learned during their volunteering experience, the possible tools that the whole of society can use in order to be ready when a crisis comes. Next slide, please. So, to be very concrete, in the Union Preparedness Strategy, the Union Preparedness Strategy was accompanied by an action plan. And this action plan includes the Key Action 30, which is to promote preparedness in youth programs, as Gaetano has already referred to. I put on the slide the whole sentence because I think it's quite important to understand exactly where this new priority, which I will explain, comes from. So the idea, of course, is that preparedness, resilience, participation in democratic life, civic engagement, all this, as I said, existed before. But we want now to put a focus on this, to put a priority on this, and a formal priority so that it becomes even more visible and effective in our youth programs. So the aim is not to transform the youth programs, but to put an increased focus on preparedness. So just to mention Erasmus Plus, this is not the topic today, but the key action 30 refers to youth programs. So that's actually the Solidarity Corps and Erasmus Plus. And a reference was introduced to the Preparedness Junior Strategy in the annual work program of Erasmus Plus for this year, for 26. In the Solidarity Corps, we have gone even a bit further. We have introduced a priority in a particular action called volunteering teams in high priority areas. And this is what I will explain a little bit more detail in the next slide. Thank you. Oops, just the one before. Yes, thank you. This new priority, again, I've inserted the quote. Uh, the Solidarity Corps can contribute to developing a culture of preparedness that can help people across the whole of society, with particular attention to the most vulnerable groups that were referred to also by Gaetano a bit earlier, adapt to change and risks such as those related to health, security, economy, or other emerging threat. As you can see, it's very broad. So the idea is that this new priority can cover a lot of very different types of projects. They can be preparing for possible natural disasters, but it can also be, as was also mentioned, preparing for hybrid threats. And we all hope we won't have to prepare for a possible armed conflict. But all this means that beyond the resilience that the program has always tried to put forward, now we are putting the focus on very concrete preparedness actions. So that means going beyond building general resilience. It means preparing for actual crisis, and that is something which is a bit new. Just to explain, the projects in the Solidarity Corps can last from 12 to 36 months, even with possible extensions. More details are available in the Solidarity Corps program guide. When you will get the slides, you will be able to click on the link, and there you will have all the necessary information. It's a bit bureaucratic, of course, because it's a funding program, and so there are a number of conditions. You will see how it works. And with this, this will allow you to understand how the Solidarity Corps works and how you could possibly apply for funding. Next slide, please. So, who can apply and how? First, the eligible participating organizations. It's any public or private entity, whether non-profit or profit-making, local, regional, national, or international, legally established in an EU member state or a third country associated to the program, or a third country not associated to the program, or any international organization. So what does this mean in practice, this association to the program or non-association? In practice, it means it can be basically an organization from any EU member state or any any country neighboring the EU. Proposals must be submitted by a consortium of at least 3 eligible participating organizations with a valid volunteering quality label, I will explain in a minute, from at least 2 different EU member states or third countries associated to the program. So that means in practice that in order to access funding, organizations must build a consortium, must build uh, a joint project with other organizations. And the deadline for applications for funding in 26, it's on the 3rd March, and the next deadline will be in March 27. But I mentioned the quality label. And so for those of you who are not familiar with the Solidarity Corps, the quality label is a prerequisite before being able to apply for funding. And that means that this quality label is a kind of guarantee. So you can never guarantee things at 100%, but it's a guarantee that the organization meets all the criteria that are important for running a volunteering project, both in terms of safety and security for the volunteers, but also in terms of content, of educational content, of what the deliverables must be, what the impact must be, the green dimension is important, the inclusivity. I insist on this notion that the Solidarity Corps must be inclusive and allow for the participation of all young people, regardless of their level of studies and regardless of their previous experience. So the steps are: first, get a quality label, and then apply for funding for this particular action in which there is now this priority on preparedness. And with this, next slide, I think we are at the end. I also put here the links to the guide, which was already in the slides, and then the link to the European Solidarity Corps portal, or we also call it the Youth Portal, and then if you have any questions, you can address them to the agency, the executive agency, because in the Solidarity Corps we have some actions which are run in what we call direct management, and that's the case of this action. Some other actions are run by national agencies, but that's another channel. Voilà. So with this, you have all the links you may need, and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Pierre, for all this very useful information. And thank you both, Gaetano and Pierre. We will get back to you after the project presentations for the Q&A. And we are now going to have the chance to learn about three very interesting projects that already integrate elements of preparedness. And before we present the next speakers, I would like to remind you that you are more than welcome to share questions for any of the speakers on Menti that you can access either via the QR code you can see on the screen or by clicking the link in the video description. And now I have the pleasure to introduce the first of the three projects we will hear about today. That is youth-led health awareness and first aid clubs in Saaremaa from the Red Cross Estonia. And here with us today, we have Christina Oon to present this project. Christina.
Hello, everybody. Greetings from Estonia, from Saaremaa. First of all, I would like to say thank you for inviting me here today. It's a huge honor. Thank you, everybody. So, without further ado, unfortunately, I don't see the slides. Should I see the slide here?
Yes, somewhere? You will see them any second now.
Okay. Okay. Seeing the slide now. So, I'm going to introduce our project here. What we have done here in Estonia. We started in Saaremaa, which is the island we live in, but we have expanded this project all around Estonia, actually, or the impact of this project has gone way further than just our island here. Maybe a few words about myself. My name is Christina Oon. As previously mentioned, I am the coordinator of Saaremaa branch in the Red Cross Estonia, and I also work in the pediatric emergency department in Tallinn, and I'm also a first aid trainer for a few years already. So if you can please show the first slide, the next slide. So just to give you just a further one slide back. Yes. Just to give you an idea of why this project here is so important. As you can see on this map, this is where I'm coming from here today. I'm speaking from this little island here in what you can see in this map. There is also a photo of one of the big events we have here in the summer when we gather up a few hundred people and just do a picnic all together. So we are based in Saaremaa, which is the largest island in Estonia, with a permanent population of around 32,000 residents. But during the tourist season, the population can increase up to 70,000 people. And in addition to Saaremaa, the biggest island, the region includes also Muhu Island and the small island of Obruka, which is located 5 nautical miles away, and another island approximately 40 nautical miles away offshore. And the entire region is covered by 3 ambulance teams. Which means, well, as you can imagine, it puts, we have a lot of responsibility ourselves to know what to do, how to do when we are faced with a situation where emergency care is needed, or any other, when we have any other crisis here as well. So the ambulance response times in remote areas can range from 25 minutes for up to 40 minutes. And in Saare County, the ambulance services are used at only 75 or up to 83% of national average. And the main reason is the long response time and the distance to services. And as we can see, the people often hesitate or delay calling for help. And the number of effective resuscitations is low, largely due to late initiation or life-saving measures before the ambulance arrives. We can change the slide now. So this project of ours, what we have learned is we don't have the luxury of depending entirely on somebody else. And there is a photo to illustrate this. This is a photo of an ambulance going to help somebody, but it was this one year when we had, well, actually we have a lot of snow here as well, this year as well, but it just so happened that the emergency services were caught in an accident. So everything may happen, can happen. It's just another example of why we need to be prepared and not to depend too much on the external help coming from anywhere. So and this is the one question that we ask ourselves, and the people we train with this project is the house already on fire? And it kind of it is the same point that has already been mentioned. We have to be prepared before the house caught fire. If we have an ongoing crisis, it is already too late to start thinking about the ways of evacuation. This is why we think in advance. And first aid and preparedness among young people is crucial, just especially because they don't usually think about these kinds of topics. They are not used to thinking that the help may not be available any second, and they actually have responsibility to be able to, in this situation, to make smart decisions. And there's just a few photos from the left photo is from training we did as well. And this photo of an injured leg actually comes from a gymnastic group here in Saaremaa. We went to Bulgaria on a competition, and it just so happened that one of the contestants managed to injure her leg. And fortunately enough, those young people were equipped with knowledge of what to do, and she was able to participate in the finals the next day. But this is just a small example. We can change the slides, please. So we have been working with first aid education in the community for over 3 years, actually. But we increasingly see that the primary focus must shift toward young people, and this has also been confirmed with this project, with this Erasmus project here. Through this project, we have expanded cooperation with police and border guard and the health board, also the poison control center and emergency response center as well. And during our trainings, we have received exceptionally strong feedback, which has revealed an entirely new and serious issue, which probably isn't just the problem of Estonian young people, because we have the internet now. Everybody is connected all around the world. And what I'm talking about is the misuse of medications and intentional overdoses that are being done with prescription medication. But I'm going to talk about this in the next slide. And this trend is also clearly reflected in Poison Control Center statistics. In addition, accidents involving electric scooters have resulted in the loss of several young lives. And there is a huge factor here, which was that those people, those young people, those kids, they didn't know that it may result in death. And they didn't know that they could have told somebody that this kind of accident happened, and the parents didn't know. And just one morning, just the kids, they don't wake up anymore because the head injury was not assessed by the health. By doctors and nurses in hospital. They didn't make it to the hospital, and I'm quite sure that this is not only in Estonia. But just to concentrate on this slide here, again, a few photos from the trainings we have done. The first photo is from the Poison Control Center. They have been here in Saaremaa quite a few times, and we have done meetings with teachers, parents, also young people here, and we have taken this message to people who need to know what are the risks we are facing right now. And but unfortunately, we are seeing that the genie is out of the bottle, and if we don't do anything right now, it's the situation is it's going to get out of hand. And preparedness must start early. And why I added that we have examples. We do have examples, mainly thanks to the Emergency Response Center. We have had a few examples of where like a kid was able to call the emergency services when something happened to a mother, a father, or a friend. But since the time here is limited, I'm not gonna waste our time on these examples. But this is where we get this is where we can say that this work we have done here probably has been something good. Young people are an essential part of preparedness, but they need for us to speak their language. And it's a barrier I think a lot of us don't know how to get over, because young people are changing all the time, and how to take this message to them for them to understand is well, it has been not a challenge, but we have discovered how to do it, and I think it took some we have to try different approaches, but it seems to me right now we have kind of discovered the right approach, which I'm happy about. And first aid education is both prevention, and it literally does save lives. Community resilience is built locally. I think this is the whole point of this project, and this whole presentation kind of takes it all together as well. We can change the slide, please. So what we found out is as I mentioned, the examples of substance abuse. And I think, as previously mentioned as well, it is important to talk to people face to face, not only through screens, because they are never going to share those stories through screens. This is why it is so important to go and meet those people and listen to what they have to say. And they need to know, and they need to feel that they have a safe space to do so, and they know that they can share those stories and they can share those examples with us without being afraid that there's going to be some kind of like they're going to get punished somehow. And mental health decline, it leads to more and more cases where first aid skills can save a life. Again, we do have examples straight from young people who have told us those situations they have been in. It includes seizures, overdoses, falls, cuts, which well, they tend to cut themselves when they feel this kind of mental pain. They can't escape it somehow. So yeah. And yes, as mentioned, we do have examples, but they're not positive kind. We do have positive examples as well. And the strong message here is that they need to know the risks before they are introduced those risks through some kind of situation they have to be in. And oftentimes, unfortunately, what we do see is they don't know that those risks can actually result in something potentially fatal. We also tell them to react when they see somebody lying down or they see somebody who is in distress. Don't just walk by. Don't take a picture with your phone and upload it to TikTok or whatever. Just to kind of raise the empathy in young generation as well. Make them think about whether they would like to be in this situation or and see themselves later on social media when they are not in a state they would like to be in. And of course, call for help. This is why we decided that we need to do cooperation with Emergency Response Center to give them this knowledge that nothing is going to happen when you dial this number. There are good people working there. They're not asking questions just to confuse you, but they need to ask those questions to get the help to you. And because a lot of youngsters now have like this social anxiety, they don't want to dial, they don't want to talk with people on their phone. And they have this anxiety even when they have to call Emergency Response Center. So our trainings have included the same the situations that we are taking our phone and we are dialing, not actually dialing, but we are going through those steps to help them overcome this mental block of actually calling the Emergency Response Center. And just a few photos. This water safety drill is something that is being done here in Saaremaa every year. It includes all pupils who attend 8th class, just in order to give them those practical skills, how to save themselves in a situation when they have fallen over in water, or they have to save somebody or save themselves, and so on. Yes, and we can change the slide. So coming back to this mental health crisis and why I'm talking about this, as you can see, this figure here illustrates why we need to tackle this preparedness before we are faced with another crisis, which we are actually facing already. This shows the increase of antidepressant users among young people. I'm not gonna read all that has been said above this graph, but just to kind of give you the visual of what I'm talking about. And this is the mental health crisis we are talking about. And unfortunately, it has an impact of first aid skills and the need for the first aid skills as well. Because if we change the slide, this is what they find online. Suicide instructions. And again, why, as I said, it is not only a problem in Estonia, because as you can see, it is not written in Estonian. It is something they have acquired somewhere in the internet, which is available all around Europe and all around the world, unfortunately. And we can change the slide again. And those are a few examples, the examples we acquired from the Poison Control Center here in Estonia. I'm going to give you just a second to read through those examples. So a lot of those poisonings that are being made are with ADHD drugs and antidepressants, sertraline, and many others, fluoxetine, etc. And it does cause those situations where young people kind of are faced with this knowledge that they don't know what to do. When their friend falls down and starts seizing or is acting aggressively, which also may happen, or he or she passes out and with a compromised breathing, it is not the situation where we can just go home and leave them there. This is where we have to know that this is a potential risk for their lives. And we can change the slide as well. So, but coming back to the actual first aid, a few examples of what we have done here. Practice makes perfect, but first it maybe makes you want to faint, as we found out. Our trainings are made to be as real as possible, which is why we are actually so incredibly thankful for this Erasmus project, which gave us the funding for acquiring those kinds of materials and the fake blood and stuff we can use to actually make it as real as possible. And what we can see is that a lot of youngsters really, well, using their language, freak out, and they are not able to do anything. They just panic, which is why we want to do those trainings over and over again, because first time they panic, sometimes somebody faints, but the next time they already know what to do, how to act, how to get yourself together, how to get through this panic and what to do. And we're showing improvement in this area as well. Actually, it is a pleasure to say that there is actually a photo of second year students here as well, and young kids in kindergarten, and when they are in first and second grade, they are really interested in this kind of practice and this kind of knowledge, and we are really getting them like excited about those trainings and this knowledge. They are really hungry for this kind of information, and they are really smart and really like they know what to do already. So we can change the slide as well. And I think this is the last slide, a few photos. Again, we take our project where we need to take it. We go to the remote areas. We invite them over to our trainings here in Kuressaare, and we just actually we don't have to do too much of advertising anymore because we are being called to come and to participate in summer camps and birthdays and different kind of projects even the other people are having here. And our youngsters who are involved in this project, they have their hands full, but only in the positive way. And we can change. Yes, again, a few examples of making it as real as possible. And I even had to take up new hobbies like cold water plunges, because how else are you gonna teach them hypothermia by not if you can show them hypothermia? But they are really they are improving by the day. They have gained so much confidence, because I think the confidence and the social anxiety part kind of well, they had some problems with this, but they are thanks to this project we have here, a lot of youngsters have gained a lot of not only knowledge but a lot of confidence to actually notice and to react and to call and to help prevent a lot of cases. And I think this is it. Yes, and just to summarize, I did have a little bit of time to talk about this particular topic, and I'm really thankful that you listened to me. But as mentioned on this slide here, we do see that youth preparedness is a long-term investment, and if you ever need some kind of insight about this topic, I am really I would be glad to share some more experience and knowledge with you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Christina, and congratulations on this very impressive work that you are doing. And I now have the pleasure to invite our next guest speaker. That is Sonia Matera, the coordinator of Deep Blue organization, that will share with us the experience of the Empower Citizens project. Sonia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alexandra, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be here and listening to the interesting presentation. So before introducing you to the Empower Citizens project, I would like to take a step back and explain you how did it start, so how we had the idea of the project. So in previous projects, we explored the collaboration between formal and informal actors in disaster management. By formal, we mean local authorities or authorities in general and first responders. With informal, we mean citizens and spontaneous volunteers that are in the scene. In this analysis, we collected experiences and feedback from citizens about their involvement or lack of involvement in disaster management activities, looking into their contributions and challenges. As you can see from the screen, we have collected for today a couple of quotes. The first one is from a citizen that participated in an evacuation exercise in Norway. And the feedback was that the exercise was, in this case, not well organized. She had to register the data twice, first with the Red Cross and then with the police, causing a lot of congestions and delays. However, she wanted to blame or to report this feedback, but nobody asked for her opinion. And the second quote that we have is from an Italian firefighter that shared his experience in one event where local volunteers had a very important role because they knew that the sea breeze was going to begin in the afternoon, modifying the direction of the fire. So this is an example of local knowledge that could be very important in some cases. Yeah, and it would be useful to have when you plan an intervention. So, as you can see from the quotes, while citizens play a central role in the management of extreme events, they are rarely involved in the debriefing events. So citizens, as was already mentioned by the presentations before, they are the first one on the scene. So they play a crucial role in the first minutes of the emergency before the first responder arrive. They have local knowledge of the territory. They have social relationship with the community. They know where the people more at risk they are and how to prioritize support. So these are crucial information that, however, this knowledge and experiences are not systematically collected in emergency planning. So going to the next slide, with this idea in mind and with this increased understanding, we felt the need to apply this research in specific test cases and develop a methodology to better involve citizens in the revision and updating of existing preparedness plans. So the Empower Citizens project wants to develop a procedure for systematically collecting the knowledge and feedback from citizens that have recently lived an extreme event or have participated in a simulation, and use this knowledge by the authorities and first responders to update the preparedness plans. Here you can find our social media channels. I invite you to follow us because we are 1 year into the project and we have 1 more year to go, so you can follow our activities. And specifically, at the moment, we are finalizing the procedure, and in the next year, we will apply it and test it in Italy and in Norway. So in Italy, we are looking at the earthquake that was in central Italy in 2016, specifically in the municipality of Castelremondo. And we will collect the feedback from the citizens about their experience and use this feedback to update the municipal civil protection plan of Castelremondo. And we will do the same in Norway, but this time to relate it to a storm, Storm Hans, that hit Norway and specifically the county of Innlandet in 2023. These lessons learned and experiences will be then scaled up and internationalized in different, in order to be applicable in different European countries. So the procedure ideally should not be useful only for Italy and Norway, but for all the European Union together. So going on to the topic of today's webinar and to the next slide, we have tried to brainstorm a little bit and also to see from the activities that we have already been carrying out in the test cases, the crucial role of youth. So youth is a component of our society, and they have specific knowledge that should be reflected in this collection of feedback and input from the citizens. They could act, and actually we have already received some input from the test case in Castelremondo, where the youth could be a bridge between the authority and the younger part of the population. So sometimes we have seen that it is very common to have representative of the society speaking on behalf of the youth. But what we would like to propose and to promote is that the youth could cover this role directly. So to have volunteers, such as through the European Solidarity Corps or other programs, that could link the work that the authority will carry out by applying our procedure and the younger part of the population. So they could support with the engagement of this group, with the facilitation of awareness on the key concept of preparedness, with the collection of citizen feedback and their experiences, and also to translate the civil protection concepts into accessible, youth-friendly formats. We have seen also before that language is important, language matters. So we cannot expect society to understand our technical jargon, but we need to simplify it and make it accessible to all the different groups. And so the youth could be the digital storytellers of this initiative and of all the other initiatives that could be collected with this procedure. So yeah, this was the last slide of this presentation, but I'm happy to continue the conversation in the Q&A session. And if you have any question also later on, feel free to reach out to us via the social media or via email. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sonia. It was very interesting to learn about the work that you are doing. And we have been getting quite a few questions via Menti. So also thank you to all those in the audience sending in the questions. I would like to also take a moment to address the fact that we are receiving quite a few questions related to technical things connected to the ESC program, how to apply for the quality label and so on. And we will have a second webinar in this series next month that we will present at the end of this one. So in this webinar, we will actually have the chance to share more of this sort of technical information. And now I have the pleasure to invite our third project and our last speaker for today. So with us, we have Nisa Shahingus, who is a volunteer and project team member from Sorgun Youth Association, and she will be sharing with us the insights of the project, One Precaution Saves 1,000 Lives. Nisa, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon again, everyone, and thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here today and present our project. Before I begin, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Haliluz, the chairperson of Yorgun Youth Association. My name is Nisa, and I am a volunteer and represent Sorgun Youth Association, the organization that implemented this project. Thank you. This project was developed in response to the devastating earthquakes that occurred in February 6, 2023. On that day, two major earthquakes with magnitudes 7.7 and 7.6 struck southern Turkey. More than 50,000 people lost their lives, and over 107,000 people were injured. As young people and volunteers, this tragedy deeply affects us. It showed us very clearly that disasters are not distant risks. They are real and they are require preparation before they happen, not after. Can you change the slide, please? Our project overview. Our project was carried out in cooperation with the Disaster and Emergency Management Authority, AFAD, and focused on training young volunteers. Young people were not passive participants in this project. We were actively involved as learners, volunteers, team members, and later as awareness multipliers within the community. Youth played a key role in the preparedness by learning practical skills and then transferring this knowledge to others, especially children and peers. Can you change, please? Thank you. Focus on learning. One of the main pillars of our project was learning. Through comprehensive training programs delivered by AFAD experts, we learned about disaster risk, teamwork, leadership, stress management, and emergency response. What made this learning effective was that it was not limited to theory. We learned by doing, by practicing, and by experiencing real-life scenarios. Can you change? I will talk about focus on prevention. Prevention was another key focus of our project. Instead of concentrating only on what happened after a disaster, we focused strongly on what can be done before a disaster occurs. We learned how to identify risk, understand local hazards, and promote correct behaviors during earthquakes and emergencies. We also learned how to use emergency equipment and materials properly and safely, and how incorrect use can create serious risk. As volunteer, we took responsibility for spreading this preventive awareness within the community. Just like other steps in the project, understanding disasters, effort introduction, team coordination, risk reduction, and risk management. Can you change, please? What worked well, or hands-on training. One of the most effective elements of the project was the use of hands-on and realistic training methods. Practical drills, simulations, and field exercises helped us transform theory into action. During advanced rescue operation training, we learned how to breach walls safely, extract trapped victims correctly, and avoid dangerous mistakes during rescue operation. At the end of training, we organized a practical drill, which allowed us to apply everything we had learned under pressure. As you can see, can you change? Our activity was AFAD volunteer gathering held simultaneously in 81 provinces across Turkey. This activity strengthened volunteer participation, teamwork, and our sense of belonging to a national preparedness network. It showed us that disaster preparedness is a collective effort, not an individual one. You can change the slide. It's a drill simulation. What did not work? Challenge. Not everything worked perfectly during the project. At the beginning, some volunteers lacked of technical experience, such as me. And coordination under pressure was challenging. However, these difficulties helped us improve our teamwork, communication, and highlight the importance of continuous training and practice. Can you change, please? Community and wider impact. After completing the training program, we organized dissemination activities, especially in school. We delivered disaster awareness training to children and young people, helping spread a culture of preparedness. The potential of this project goes beyond our local community. Similar volunteer-based preparedness models can be adapted and implemented in other regions and countries. Can you change the slide? Or upon completing their training or trainings, we are launched extensive community awareness program, particularly focused on earthquake preparedness education for youth and children. School-based awareness season reached hundreds of students, spreading vital disaster preparedness knowledge through the Yozgat region and beyond. Can you change, please? To summarize, there are three key takeaways from our project. Firstly, practical learning saves lives. Second, prevention reduces losses. Third one is community resilience starts with informed and responsible young people. Even one trained volunteer can influence many others, and even one precaution can save 1,000 lives. In conclusion, the project demonstrated that preparedness is not only the responsibility of institutions, but also of individuals and communities. Through volunteering, learning, and cooperation, young people can actively contribute to preparedness priorities. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you once again for giving us the opportunity to share our experience today.
Thank you very much, Nisa, for sharing your work, and also thank you for highlighting some of the challenges and some of the things that didn't work, which actually help us understand how we can improve in this process of preparedness. Thank you all very much, and thank you to everyone who has been sending in questions. We have some time left for the Q&A. So we will not, of course, unfortunately, be able to address all the questions, but we would now like to take up one question for which I would then invite maybe one representative of the Commission and one representative of the civil society to answer, so we can have these different perspectives. So we have a question from a civil society representative from Sicily with experience in preparedness, who says that they've seen that despite improved early warnings during recent floods, public skepticism remains. So the question is, how can we help rebuild trust between institutions and communities across generations? And what can be the role of youth organizations in this process? So I would like to ask maybe perhaps Gaetano or Pierre, if any of you would like to address this question from the side of the Commission.
Maybe Gaetano be better
Sure.
placed for this one.
I'll give it a try. It's obviously not an easy one to answer. So I would say how to build or rebuild trust. Obviously, when we look at events where there have been where response has had some issues, and we have some examples around us, even when we look at Europe, Italy, Spain, several countries have been confronted with this type of events. I think it's understandable to face this loss of trust. Now, how do you recover that? I think is perhaps after hearing these presentations from Estonia, from Turkey, and from Italy, is by involving citizens, by definitely let them also express their disappointment, or where they felt they didn't have a voice in the process, or what went wrong, and to transparently and frankly go through this feedback to understand what went wrong in the first place. So that's one. So really doing we call it lessons learned in our jargon, but that's something that should be done at all levels, starting with really at the municipal level and then ending at our level, the European level. And then another way I would think that could help is by pointing at examples where the project that we've seen. The Estonian colleague was showing some of the very grassroots work that has yielded some results, and pointing to those good stories can also help. But definitely, it's not rebuilding this trust is not something that will happen overnight. But without that, we won't be able to really have a widespread preparedness. I don't know if someone else wants to add on this, but these are the first two things I can think of.
Thank you very much, Gaetano. Yes, and I would now like to invite one of the representatives of the civil society, if you would also like to have your take on this question.
I can maybe quickly complement what Gaetano shared. In our project, we underline the importance of considering the citizen as part of the process, so as equal partners in the process, not as beneficiaries of the process, and also the transparency matters. So when we collect the feedback from the citizens, we need to be transparent in the way that we will filter, categorize, and prioritize their input. So not to, to make them part of every single step. And then another very important element is the follow-up. So whenever we carry out citizen engagement activities, a best practice is to go back to the citizens and tell them what, in Italian we say restituire, so give back to them the lessons learned that we gathered from the process. So it's very important to close the circle somehow and not involving them only for asking input without giving back what we learned from them.
Thank you very much, Sonia, for sharing. We are almost near the end, but I would like to ask the other guest speakers if you would also like to have a few words to address this question on building trust. Christina, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Well, it's not as much as from our project, but just a previous experience from the time when COVID hit. And we are known here in Estonia as the crisis island, because if something happens, it usually starts here in Saaremaa. And the COVID was no different. When we had those first cases here of COVID, they started on Saaremaa. And as mentioned, we have 3 ambulances driving around all around the county. And since I am the communications specialist of Kuressaare Hospital as well, then we were kind of faced with a challenge on what to do, because people were panicking, as you can imagine. We were kind of locked down here. The ferries were not moving. Nobody got out, nobody got in. And the waiting time for the ambulance was about 36 hours, because everybody was panicking. Everybody who coughed one time, they already called for an ambulance, and the actual cases where, for example, resuscitation was needed, etc. Well, as you can imagine, they were all a bit delayed. So we were kind of faced with the hospital management. We were faced with a question how to address and tackle this problem. And I think this was an excellent example of this trust question that is in question here as well. And we decided to do something which is not usually done. We didn't give our community a perfectly, a perfect message with perfect sentences, and we just told them that this situation is new for all of us. We are faced with a crisis. We don't know what to do just yet. Give us just a little bit of time. We are trying to navigate this extremely difficult time here. And what we achieved was that actually the community got behind us, even when we were faced with challenges with Estonian government. Even the people here, the local people, were like hands off our hospital management and our nurses and our doctors, because through this whole process of this, it lasted for a few months. We were honest. We were just giving people information within our capability of without compromising, privacy but we were just honest, and we told them how it was, how it is, what our challenges were at the time. And I think this kind of honesty and this message that we understand what you are experiencing. We're seeing your troubles and this worry you are experiencing, and we are dealing with this as good as we can. And just being honest, I think. I don't know if it is any help with this situation that was asked, but I think that honesty is one main factor as to how achieve this kind of trust with people.
Alexandra, if you
Yes.
allow me in 30 seconds, just an additional way, we highlighted a lot the importance of feedback, involvement of the population, but one additional point, very important. We often see disasters. We focus on the loss, on the damage, on what happened in terms of material losses, human losses. There's not enough emphasis on what is the avoided losses. What on the benefits that the work that has been done in preparedness, that has been done in prevention, has yielded. And this is really probably something, a story that also at local level, starting from the politicians and all the way to civil society, need to be able to tell. Let's look at what has been saved. Let's look at the evacuation orders that has been done and has been executed by the population and the people that were saved. So let's also look at the good stories, because that's also is going to remind people why it's important to be prepared. Sorry for this additional point. Over.
No, thank you very much, Gaetano, for that addition. Thank you as well, Christina, and thank you to all the guest speakers of today. This is indeed a very interesting conversation, and one that does not end here. We are ending here now this first webinar, but there will be a second webinar in this series in which we will continue talking about this topic. And to introduce that and close this webinar, I give the floor back to Christine.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Alexandra. So as we come to the end of today's webinar, I would like to take just a second to reflect a bit on what we've explored together today. So we've heard that certain elements of the preparedness priority have already been in the DNA of the Solidarity Corps from its beginning. And now with the introduction of the priority of preparedness, it will become even more visible, more concrete in the next years. So the potential of using the expertise of different actors from different backgrounds, youth organizations, volunteering environment, and the civil protection area was really tangible in the presentation of the projects. And therefore, I would like to warmly thank our speakers from the Commission and also our project representatives from civil society for sharing their experiences, their reflections, and the practical insights. This contribution, I think, really helped bring policy concepts to life and also showed what preparedness can look like in practice. And one thing that I would really like to underline, the potential of cross-sectoral cooperation. So today's webinar was much about the why and the what. And in the second webinar, we will shift the focus more clearly on the how. We will take a closer look on how the Solidarity Corps works in practice, how organizations can become active within the program. We will explore concrete opportunities and formats, including, of course, teams in high priority areas, but also solidarity projects and individual volunteering. And we can discuss how this format can be used strategically to respond to local needs and to preparedness priority. And you will, of course, receive a link to register for the second webinar, but I would like to point out that it's our pleasure to announce that a colleague from the executive agency, David Bulderini, will also be with us to focus really on these volunteering teams in high priority areas. He will give a short input on this format, and you will have a chance to really concretely ask questions to him because he's the expert in this area. So to not take more time than needed, a big thank you to all of you, also to the audience for your attention, for all the questions that you raised. I'm sure we will also have time in the second webinar to tackle some of the questions. And I can just say that your perspectives and experience will be essential for shaping how preparedness and solidarity are understood across different contexts. I also wanted to, for those who cannot join us in the second webinar, just point out that in autumn 2026, the colleagues from the German National Agency with some colleagues of other national agency are planning to have a conference on Erasmus Plus Youth and EU strategy for skills and preparedness. So more information will come, but I wanted to already point out that there will be more emphasis on the new priorities on European level, also in our network. And we are very much looking forward to continuing this conversation in the next webinar and I guess in the upcoming months and years. Thank you very much. Have a good day and hopefully see you soon.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, everyone, and hope to see you at the next webinar. Have a good afternoon.